Better still duck the bullet when the barrel was plastic. Don't be easily fooled. That serpent cunning and cruel.
Hi everyone, welcome back to AIA. My name is Becca Poljan. I'm a senior on the volleyball team, and I have the pleasure of emceeing with this guy right here.
What's up? I'm Nick. I'm a senior on the guys tennis team.
Awesome. And AIA is just a place where we talk about how God uses sports to bring all of us closer to him. So we're really excited to have you tonight on this second episode of AIA Virtual.
Hopefully only second of third or four. Yeah, bummer to be on Zoom, but hopefully be back soon and back in Scandalaris and see all your beautiful faces. Shout out to a couple people tonight. I think we got some K College people in the house. Shout out Kalamazoo. Also shout out to the watch party in Big Slee's basement. It's a good looking crew right there.
Yeah, looks like we got some baseball, some volleyball girls, some basketball girls. What's up?
Rolling deep. Love to see it. Also, Becca and I hosting again this week. I'm terribly sorry if this was disappointing to you. If so, we love to hear feedback. So shoot me an email at daniel.barth@athletesinAction.org. We got a great evening planned for us tonight. But first, we're going to start off with an icebreaker themed according to our speaker. So we got an Olympian set up for us to listen to, and so it's only natural with opening ceremonies for the winter games. No annotation function, sorry Carson. With the winter game opening ceremonies coming up, we got to get our flag knowledge straight.
Oh yeah.
So D-Bar's going to throw up some flags on this screen here, and we need y'all to guess the appropriate flag.
Drop those answers in the chat, if you will. All right, we got some Vietnam, some Singapore.
Kazuki said C.
Some C's, some D's.
Oh no, they did find the annotate function. This is, oh my goodness, the annotation function is live. Please be aware that these hearts are not a part of the actual flag of this country.
All right, it looks like we got majority C. Who circled D? Okay. Answers coming in.
No, looking like C is the correct answer. Shout out to everyone who guessed Singapore. Y'all are brilliant.
I didn't know. I thought it was Turkey at first. I'm not gonna lie. I was told that flag is all red.
Slightly different. All right. Let's move on to the next one.
D-Barth. Perfect. There we go.
What are we thinking here?
Cammy's sticking with the C answers. I love it. It's an awesome strategy. What do we think about this one?
I think all these countries have that similar like white, blue, red pattern. It's an interesting looking emblem there.
Yeah, we got a double cross. Maybe they're telling their people not to double cross them. I don't know.
It's a bold message from a country.
That is a bold message from a country. Okay, we got some Croatia. We got some Gator says gotta be C. Some D's. Sorry, we're getting mostly C's and D's. C's and D's. Nicholas, what's the right answer?
The correct answer is in fact D, Slovakia.
Slovakia. Nice job. iPhone Van Carson. Thank you so much for checking that there.
All right, now we have a third and final flag to preview with you all. And it's a little special scene. I don't know if y'all remember this goat from a few Olympics back, but this beautiful, well-oiled man competes in both the Winter and Summer Olympics for this country.
Emphasis on the well-oiled. Thank you, Kirsten.
Nothing like a good flag bearer. Those flags got to get heavy. I have to think you're carrying it around for an entire opening ceremony.
He is a double Olympian now, so I feel like it's probably lightweight for him.
It also looks like he's strong enough to handle that weight. So.
Does look like that.
All right, we're getting some
A's, B's. Philly G just saying Tonga straight up. Is that DJ Danny? Alrighty. We got Are all the answers in? All the answers in.
We're looking good. All right. The correct answer is in fact B, Tonga.
Tonga.
It is not only sound like a dance, it's a wonderful South Pacific country. So shout out to all of you who got that one right. And thank you for participating in our icebreaker challenge. So now Becca's going to move on with some announcements.
There we go. So yeah, a few announcements before we get into our amazing speaker today. Starting next Thursday, the 27th, we are doing a co-ed Bible study. This is just, like I said last week, this is a really cool opportunity to be in a Bible study with people that aren't necessarily in your teams. I know last semester we really focused on having like team Bible studies, and I think those are still going on, but this is a really cool way to maybe like get with teams or get with people that you don't necessarily interact with at AIA, or just have Bible studies between multiple teams. So really cool opportunity. If you're available, please come out next Thursday. Also, next week's speaker, we are having Erin Wellman. She is on staff with Athletes in Action since 2005. She was a softball player at the University of Indianapolis. So very, very excited to hear her speak. Make sure that you come back next week to hear her speak. And now we have some giveaway winners for you guys.
Just one tonight.
Just one tonight. And this was just a random generator in all of this. So Kendall Carlin, you are the winner of some UTC gear tonight. So we will be getting that to you. Daniel Barth will be reaching out on how you will pick that up, but you are the winner tonight.
Congrats, Kendall.
Thank you.
All right, so now we get to get into our speaker for the evening. I have the honor of introducing him. A fun fact about him: he is a Texas man through and through. He is not only is San Antonio the home of this Mr. Josh Davis, but it is also the home of my favorite city in Texas, the home of the boys 14 and unders boys tennis national championships. And let me tell you, it gets hot down there. But this man, Josh Davis, we are so excited to have him. He is a 5-time Olympic medalist between the 1996 and 2000 games. And he's also willing to stay after for a little brief Q&A. So please think up some questions as he's speaking. But Josh, I'd like to hand it over to you. Thanks so much for taking the time to share with your story with us tonight.
Well, thank you guys for having me, and happy Tuesday to everybody. Phil, a dear old friend, and his wife, Julie, thank you for having me back. And just greetings from Oklahoma. I'm a college coach in Oklahoma now. So you got friends in Oklahoma if you're ever passing this way. But I'm just going to tell you my life story in about 5 minutes, and then tell you some other things that have meant a lot to me in my relationship with God for another 5 minutes, and then maybe answer any questions you guys might have. But I grew up in San Antonio, Texas, and did all the sports growing up. Soccer was my first love. Baseball, basketball, tennis, gymnastics, pole vault. Real quick, can anybody guess the very first sport I did when I was 5, right before soccer? It starts with letter B. Just yell it out if you think you know. Let me see here. Who said? Nope, it's not baseball. Not bowling. Good guess. Bassoon. Someone guessed it. It's not baseball, badminton, boxing, boating, bungee jumping, or bull riding. The first sport my mom signed me up for was ballet. That's right. I don't know why my mom did that to me. I was the only guy in a class of 40 girls, and I couldn't appreciate that ratio at 5. Anyway, so I quickly got into the other sports like soccer and baseball, and I loved them, but I wasn't that good at them. And we moved into a neighborhood when I was 12, and we tried a whole new sport, and that was swimming. And I just fell in love with the water, fell in love with my swimming friends, fell in love with racing. And it really, that's when I kind of got hooked on it. And so I kind of did that at the end of middle school, 13. But what happened was, after I did that summer league, it was time to try out for the big year-round club team, because to make the high school team, you have to join the club team to get better. And so I thought, I gotta go to the big club to get better. And I finally got up the guts to go to the big club team, the big fancy pool, big fancy coach, big fast team. And I try out for the first time. I'm now 13. I'm now in 8th grade, and I'm doing terrible. And everybody's real fast going right by me. And the coach is shaking his head looking at me, because I'm such a beginner and I'm 13. I should be further along like my other friends who were 13. but I'm way behind. And he pulls me aside after that first practice and he says, son, you're not very good. You should switch sports because you'll never make it as a swimmer. You know, that's kind of a negative thing to say. Here I am, 13 years old. I've fallen in love with the sport of swimming. I have a passion to be a swimmer. I kind of have a vision for my life. And he says, you're not going to make it. You're not very good. You probably should quit now. But like I said, I had a vision, and somehow I had the wherewithal to get with my mom and some of my other friends. And instead of switching sports, I switched coaches. And I got a great coach. And it makes all the difference when you have a great coach. It makes a tremendous difference when you have a great coach in your life. And it just, my life totally changed. Instead of switching sports, I switched coaches. This new coach taught me about technique, taught me about being tough, taught me about nutrition, taught me about all the other strategies and things you got to do to be great. And sure enough, I had rapid improvement and was within 1 year, my freshman year, I was one of the fastest in the town. And by my senior in high school, I was one of the fastest in the country. That gave me a full scholarship to just about anywhere. And being from San Antonio, it was cool to go to the University of Texas. So I went to the University of Texas. They got the Olympic coach teaches there, and the coaches there. I think maybe similar to your wrestling coach, but Eddie Reese is the Olympic coach and the swimming coach at Texas, and he's very famous. He's been coaching there for over almost 45 years. Get this, guys, he's won 15 national titles. They should win number 16 in March in just 2 months from now. 16 national titles. Unbelievable. So I got to train for Eddie Reese, and I'll never forget moving in the dorm for the first time. And maybe you guys remember something like this. I was 17 years old when I moved in the dorm, and I was so excited to make new friends and meet new people and do all this cool stuff moving to college. And I was just so excited to have this freedom. You know, I was going to eat whatever I want. I was going to go bed whenever I want. I was going to do whatever I want. And if you ask most people what the definition of freedom is, they'll probably say something like to do whatever you want. And it's true that there is a level of freedom where you get to do whatever you want. But I think there's a better definition of true freedom. And maybe someone can enter this in the chat for you guys to remember. True freedom is the ability to do the right thing whenever you want, regardless of what anybody else is doing around you. You see, that's true freedom, because that takes real wisdom. That takes real power. That takes real self-control when you have the ability to do the right thing whenever you want, regardless of what anybody else is doing around you. Now, the freedom I had, I was just going crazy. I was like a chicken with my head cut off. I was going to meet, there's 50,000 people at the UT campus. I was going to meet all 25,000 girls. I was going to make good grades, and I was going to swim real fast. I was going to do it all. And what happened was I actually almost did all those things. I had a great freshman year. I did all those things. And sure enough, we won the national title in my freshman year at Austin. We were hosting the NC2As, and we won in our pool in Austin, Texas, the national title. It was unbelievable. And so, of course, you know how a lot of athletes are. We pride ourselves on training hard, but when the season's over, we party hard. And so just wanted to be liked by the guys. I just did what they did. So if they went drinking, I went drinking. If they went messing around, I went messing around. If they were gossiping, I was gossiping. And so I just was doing that real hard for most of March and April. And then school started, finals come around. So I got to start studying hard for finals. And of course, we swimmers, we don't really take time off. We start training hard again. So by the time school got out in May, I was training hard, partying hard, studying hard. And I got so sick about May 15th when school got out. I was so dead from living so hard. It was all I could do to go back home and lay in bed for 2 weeks. I had a mysterious illness. I don't know what it was, but you know how frustrating it is to be stuck in bed with an illness. And as an athlete, it drives you nuts. And I had time. I couldn't move. I was really sick, and I just had time to lay there. So for 2 weeks, I kept thinking about my life. I kept thinking about what just happened my freshman year. And here I am. I have everything the world says an 18-year-old is supposed to have to be happy. I've got my big old national championship ring. I've got, I'm making decent grades. I'm hanging out with pretty people. I'm a popular guy on the team. But here I am now, I'm stuck in bed, sick as a dog, and I can't move. And all those things are not satisfying me. And I'm completely unfulfilled. And I had time to think while I was laying there. And I had these thoughts, it's like, if I keep acting like this, if I keep drinking like this, if I keep doing this, I'm going to be in a really bad place. And then I had this next thought. I am not God. And I shouldn't act like God, like I know it all. And so I had these thoughts that God created me. He knows how I best operate. So maybe I can trust him with my life because he knows how I best operate. So if I trust him with every area of my life, every corner of my heart, he can make something beautiful out of my life because what I'm doing isn't working. And here's the other thing. This is kind of a deep thought. Maybe some of you will get this. Even if I did know the right thing to do, I don't have the power to do it anyway. I needed something outside myself to help me out in that time of my life. And basically what I did is I came face to face, really real, for the first time in my life, I came face to face with who Jesus Christ really is. He's exactly who he says he is. He's not a liar. He's not a lunatic. He's not a legend. He's exactly who he says he is. He is Lord of the universe. And I need to make him Lord of my life right then and there, right now, immediately. Now, the word Lord, we don't use it very much in our common vernacular, our everyday language, but we understand words that communicate a hierarchy of authority. There's the mayor of a town, there's the governor of a state, there's the president of the United States. I've actually met I've been to the White House 3 times. I caught up with Forrest Gump. I got to go to the White House again. And every time I went to the White House, it was pretty cool because you put your Sunday best on and you got your suit on and you go through the security check and you're in the Oval Office. And finally, he walks out, the most powerful man on the planet. And you're really at attention. You're really wanting to respond in just the right way. How much more should we respond to the Lord of the universe? How much more should we have a posture of humility, a stance of attentiveness, and respond in just the right way? And it was there that I made Jesus Christ my head coach. And it's amazing what happens when you get a great coach. A great coach does 3 things. They believe in you and they encourage you and they teach you truth of how you can operate your very, very best. And just like I got that swim coach when I was 13, I got Jesus Christ as my life coach, my heavenly coach, my eternal coach, and it made all the difference. He's not just a coach. He's my best friend. He's my Lord. He's my Savior. He's everything. And so I wonder, have you really made that decision to give every corner of your heart and every inch of your life over to Jesus Christ? Because he'll never let you down. Now, believe me, following Jesus and being a Christian is not easy. But you know what? It's so much better than the alternative. It's so much better. But it's not easy, but it's okay. He actually comes and lives with us to empower us, to guide us, and to help us. And I'm really glad I had Jesus in my life to help me find my life mate. I met my wife, Chantel. She was on the volleyball team. I was on the swim team, and we met a few years later. And really thankful for her. My wife, Chantel, great athlete. She was actually recruited for track and softball and basketball and volleyball, and she chose volleyball. Anyway, so we now have 6 healthy kids, which is really crazy and fun. And I'm really glad I had Jesus in my life to help me be a dad. Guys, you need Jesus in your life if you're going to be a husband and dad. I'm just telling you right now. So you might as well just give your life to him right now because you're going to need him. And then I'm really glad I had Jesus in my life to help me go to the Olympics. And sure enough, a few years later, I trained for the Olympics and I made it. And it was the 96 Olympics in Atlanta, Georgia. We were the host and it was so fun. And I did really, really well. I got the gold medal in the relays. I'm a big relay guy. And then I got another gold medal in another relay. And then I got a 3rd gold medal in a 3rd relay. So I got the 3 gold medals here. There's the goddess Nike. She's on front of all the Olympic medals, the goddess Nike, the goddess of victory and fair play. So I love my gold medals. This is the Olympic cap I wore, Davis. So it's kind of fun. And man, it was so cool winning those gold medals. It was so cool being up on the podium and singing that anthem and wearing the red, white, and blue. And I just thought, holy cow, we live in the greatest country in the world. And I was just so thankful for all my coaches and my teachers and my family and my teammates. And it was just incredible. It's everything you dream about and more. And here's the interesting thing. Right after the medal ceremony, you know, we get whisked off to some interviews. We actually got interviewed by Sports Illustrated, and the TV news stations back home are calling, want to interview me and put me on TV. And I was just so jazzed up with the Team USA that night. And I finally fell asleep in the village that night with my Olympic medal. I couldn't have my wife with me in the village, so I fell asleep with the next prettiest thing, my new gold medal. And I fell asleep, and here's the interesting thing. I got up the next morning, and all the adrenaline, all the excitement, all the hype, it was all gone. I had just trained about 10 years of my life for about 4 hours of excitement. You know, the finals of the Olympics, and then, you know, all the hoopla afterwards, and then I finally fell asleep about 4 hours later. All of the hoopla was gone. I just spent 10 years of my life chasing this gold medal, and now it's all gone. And when I need perspective, when I need encouragement, when I need hope, I don't look at my gold medals. I go to my Bible. Now, of course, we're spoiled now. We have it all on our phone. In fact, the church that invented the YouVersion Bible app, the most used Bible app in the world, was invented right here in my town of Edmond, Oklahoma, where I live now. And the YouVersion Bible app, you got to have it. If you don't have it already, it's the best way to listen to the Bible, and I can just listen to it whenever I want. And when I was in the Olympic Village that next morning, I needed to read my Bible. And I remember reading in Matthew 6:19, don't store up for yourselves treasures on earth, but store up for yourselves treasures in heaven, where moth and rust can't destroy and thieves can't steal. And then I read a few verses later in 1 Peter 1:7, your faith is worth more than gold. Basically, my friendship is worth more than gold. And it's fun that I get to give these gold medals to my kids or put them in a museum or something. But what really matters, what's way more important, is my relationship with God, my friendship with Jesus, and all the many promises and blessings that he gives us. That's way more important. And so that was just really encouraging to me that next day in the Olympic Village. And I was so pumped, though. I trained for 4 more years, and I got even faster, went to a second Olympics, broke the American record. I was the oldest guy on the 2000 team in Sydney, Australia. And guess who the youngest guy? I was the oldest guy. Guess who the youngest guy was? A 15-year-old skinny little sophomore from Baltimore, Maryland, named Michael Phelps. That's right. Michael and I were teammates, and he elected me. I got elected captain by him and the rest of the guys on the team, and I got to be captain of the USA team in 2000, and I got even faster. And that was my last Olympics. And I learned a lot in my Olympic journey, and I learned a lot about how to incorporate Jesus and the Bible into my sports. And this is really important. Maybe I don't have a whole lot of time to explain it, but in the world of sports, you have to earn, your performance determines your value. Okay. But in God's economy, in God's way of doing things, he determines your value. His love for you determines your value. What he did for you on the cross determines your value. It's not what you do, it's what he did for you. And you don't have to earn his love. You don't have to earn anything. Your awesomeness in sport is an expression of your gratitude. You don't have to earn, you just express. So I hope you can maybe explore that this season, that you have what we call an attitude of gratitude, where you're so thankful for what God has done for you. You're so thankful to be an American and have these freedoms that we enjoy. You're so thankful to be in an awesome school like MSU. You're so thankful to be involved with great friends like you find at AIA. You're so thankful that you want to go all out in everything you do. And you see your intensity and your excellence is reflective of your gratitude, and vice versa. Your gratitude shows your intensity. is shown by your intensity and excellence. So that's what I call an attitude of gratitude. And I hope you can remember that word, not earn, but express. And so every time you're going out on the field, every time you go on the court, every time you dive in the pool, you're expressing your gratitude, not earning it, expressing it. And so anyway, I learned a lot in my Olympic career, and I want to leave with you one last huge thing. One last huge thing. I want you to invest your life in the things that give you the most joy for the longest amount of time. So you might want to write this in the chat. Invest your life in the things that give you the most joy. The second key word is joy. The first key word is invest. The second key word is joy, and for the longest amount of time. The third key word is time. Invest your life in the things that give you the most joy for the longest amount of time. So I love, for example, I love learning. I loved academics. I wasn't great. I wasn't a great student, but I love learning. And I'm glad I finished college. I'm glad I did all that. It gave me great joy, and it helped me in many ways. And then I love swimming. I love swimming. I got to swim as a pro swimmer on the USA team after college for 10 years. After college, I retired at 28, about 30 years old from being a pro swimmer. That was fun. I got paid to swim. I love it. Now I get paid to teach to swim and paid to coach to swim, swimmers. I just love it. And this gift, I've invested my life in this sport, and it's given me great joy for a long amount of time. And in my family, I invested in finding a great life mate. I really, really tried to read up and study up and get counseling on how to find a great life mate and how to find purity, how to get established for a great marriage. And I invested in finding a great wife, and we invested in our family. We got 6 kids, and you know what? They're going to give me great joy for about 60, 70 years. And you know what? The reason I had 6 kids is because when I'm 95 and there's just food and drool coming out of me, at least one of those 6 is going to come visit me and wipe my face. That's my hope, is one of the 6 will come visit me in the old folks home. Okay. And the kids, the family is going to give me great joy for a long, long time. So be sure you invest wisely in your relationships. But even greater than this, you got to invest wisely in your relationship with God, because that will give you the greatest amount of joy for eternity. That's a long, long time. I'm so proud of you for being great in your school. That will give you great joy and serve you well. I'm really, really proud of you for those of you who are seeking purity in your relationships and really, really trying to do those things well. The things of the heart are very delicate. The heart is very delicate. You must be very careful and guard your heart and be very careful with those treasures. And you must really do your relationships well. And I'm really proud of you for doing that, because that will serve you well and give you great joy for a long time. But I'm really, really, really proud of those of you who invest your life in eternal things. The Bible says there's 3 eternal things: God, His Word, and the souls of men and women. If you invest your life in God's Word, and you memorize God's Word, and you invest your life in relationship with Him, and you invest your life in others, in their well-being and their soul, that's going to really pay off and give you joy for a long, long time. Invest your life in the things that give you the greatest joy for the longest amount of time. So that's all I have right now. If anybody has any fun questions or fun thoughts, throw them at me.
Hey, Josh, I just wanted to, first of all, say thank you so much for taking your valuable time. I mean, do the arithmetic, right? You have 6 kids, 1 wife, in that order. You're a coach, a college coach, you're busy. And, really just on a whim, a couple of weeks ago, I just texted you and said, I would love to speak. And so thank you for spending your time in doing that. But also I wanted to thank you too, for just your heart posture, listening to what you just said, especially there at the end. I see at the heart of a father and the heart of a coach come out, realizing that we only have one life to live, and you're wanting to help our athletes from MSU and Kalamazoo College who are on tonight to choose the better thing and to invest their lives for eternity. So thank you for that. That's awesome. And and to still see your passion for the Lord through the years. I think the first time you were in our house was 2004. And so, right? Yeah, my kids were wee little kids, and you let them wear the medals and the whole 9 yards. And we had the whole swim team over for dinner. And you were passionately talking about the Lord then, and you're passionately talking about the Lord now, which tells me it must be really real in your life. So, but
well, thank you for saying that. I did have one more thought I wanted to share with you. Just kind of being vulnerable. I'm not as good as Christian as I'd like to be. I don't pray as much as I should. I don't read the Bible as much as I should. But you know what keeps me coming back day after day, year after year? It's not how much I love him. It's how much he loves me. I can't get over it. I've never gotten over it, how much he loves each and every one of us and what he did for us at the cross and all the many promises. I hope you guys never get over it. It's amazing what he's done for you and how much he loves you.
Yeah, wow, that's a good word. It's a great word. Well, hey, let's take it to the studio audience here. And any of you guys out there have a question for Josh. It could be about walking with the Lord in your sport. It could be just strictly about your sport even. He cares about all those things. So anybody have a question? Don't be shy. I see Kazuki pondering his question.
I have a question. So I, first of all, thank you so much. That was so good. You can definitely tell that you've been walking with the Lord for so long. But like you said, in college, you came to know the Lord. And after you made that decision, what was like, not the follow-up, but what was your next steps after that? So you said you had a crazy freshman year. And then after that, how did your life change after you kind of made that decision that, you know, like, I'm going to follow Jesus. That's the most important thing in my life.
Yeah. So just like anything, you want to get a spiritual coach and you want to get on a good spiritual team. And so I got involved in Athletes in Action at University of Texas. I was in a small group Bible study, started being challenged to memorize scripture. First verse I ever memorized was Psalm 119, 9 and 10. How can a young man or a young woman keep their way pure? By keeping according to thy word. Thy word I have hidden deep in my heart, so that I will not sin against thee. And the Josh Davis paraphrase is, I got to memorize God's word and get it deep in my mind and my heart. So whatever situation I'm faced, I'll have the wisdom and the knowledge and the power to make the best decision. And so I love memorizing God's word. I love going to church and getting involved in different church and visiting different churches. I grew up Catholic, and I'm very thankful for my Catholic upbringing, very thankful for my Catholic family. I love my Catholic family, but I really enjoyed trying new churches. I really enjoyed trying different Bible studies. We had Athletes in Action on campus. So that was really, really huge. Yeah. And we just, you know, the guys on the team thought I was nuts. They thought I was, you know, a Jesus freak, Bible beater, God squad, but you know, I've been called worse. So that's all right. And, you know, I still loved them. We still trained together. We still lived together. We still ate together, but you know, there were some things on Friday and Saturday nights I couldn't do anymore. And I had way, way more fun with with some new friends, Christian friends. And I could remember it. It was great. Because I wasn't getting drunk too much. So it was good.
There you go. Novel idea.
Yeah.
Any other questions out there?
I have a question. What's one way or one thing that helps you to like play your sport for God?
I talked about the attitude of gratitude thing. And I'm so, let me put it this way. There was a lot of times where I was really in the zone and I could win a lot. And then as I got older, I wasn't always winning a lot. And so what I did was I learned how to serve others. And this was my big secret. When I was having a slightly off moment or a slightly off 30 minutes or a slightly off 2 hours or a slightly off day or week, I began to figure out, how can I serve others? How can I help others? How can I cheer on others? How can I make my teammates better or somehow make the team better? And sure enough, as I got really focused on helping others, and I was trying to help myself too, but when I really got into helping others, it took my mind off my offness and got me excited for them. And sure enough, I got off my offness quicker and I got back in the zone quicker. So here I was learning how to serve better and I was getting out of my funks better. And that was my big secret, was serving others, helping others. I got just as much excited. I got just as excited for my progress, or I got just excited for their progress as I did mine. And I think that's the sign of a really healthy Christian mature athlete, that you know how to take care of you, but you also learn how to take care of others. And that's when your sport and life gets awesome. It's like an awesome, exciting adventure to see each day, how is God going to use you today? What people can you encourage today? How can you make an impact on this team? How can you make your life, the life of your coach and your team, better and easier every day? It becomes really kind of exciting. And that was my little secret of, not only did I learn how to go all out because I wanted to progress, I learned how to go all out for others. And it was really exciting and fun.
That probably helped your witness too, Josh. I mean, that's not the normal attitude of somebody on a team.
Oh, Phil, you nailed it. All the guys who were, thought I was nuts. Sure enough, a couple years later, they're asking me about relationships. They elected me captain. And we now have lifelong bonds, that transcend all that old stuff that they used to make fun of me about. So yeah, you got to hold fast. Don't worry about it. It all works out in the end.
Okay. That's awesome. Rayvon, I see your hand raised there in the corner.
Yeah. I was like, it was kind of like crazy. He brought up the, how he like finds more joy when he's not having as much success at his team. Cause like recently this weekend, I mean, I've been wrestling really well the season, but I had a really a tough loss this weekend after like winning a lot of matches, and I was really like just having a lot of success, and I had so much joy, and it was just like, winning. And then, I lost the match, but the team won. And I was so happy like that we won as a team. And so him bringing that up, just like that like I put a smile on my face, because it was like I understood exactly what he was talking about, where you like kind of as you get older, because I mean it is a lot harder. Your body starts breaking down, you like there's a lot more injury. Like I've dealt with a lot more like pain, and like my body just don't work the same. So I'm happy that he brought that up. And I was going to ask him about that. Like, how did you deal with outside adversity? Like, obviously you had your teammates who were like pulling, like kind of like didn't understand what you were talking about. Maybe now they do, but like, how'd you deal with that? And also, how'd you deal with like injuries or like anything that was like physically holding you back?
Man, that's a great question. I had some low points. I had some funks. I never had a big injury. But I definitely had some low points. Like the year before the Olympics, I was in the biggest funk, and I just thought there's no way I'm making the Olympics a year from now. Like if I train like this and then I show up to the Olympic trials on national TV and I perform like this, I probably shouldn't do this. This is going to hurt, mentally and physically. And I remember right in the middle of my funk, my coach came up to me. He was the assistant coach at the time. And he says, "Hey, Josh, I want to show you something. I just saw a picture in the newspaper of the gold medals that they're going to make in Atlanta next year. And they put it in the paper, and it's kind of a small little picture of the gold medal. And I cut it out of the newspaper and I laminated it. And I want you to take this picture of this gold medal and I want you to put it in your wallet, because I really believe you're going to get a gold medal next year. I really believe you're the best 200 freestyler our country's got. And I want you to go and have a good practice, because I believe in you." And in my mind, I'm thinking, man, this is a nice guy, but do you know how hard it is to win a gold medal? That's crazy. But you know what? That day, I had a better practice. I got a little bit out of the funk, just a little bit. And I looked at that gold medal in my wallet every day, and the next day I got a little bit better. And even though I wasn't a gold medalist yet, what that little picture of that gold medal did for me is it just made me think, okay, what does a gold medalist eat like? What does a gold medalist think like? What does a gold medalist act like? What does a gold medalist treat other people like? And so even though I wasn't one, I kind of just had this little reminder of what it means to be one. And, you know, for all of us, it might be a little different symbol, something. It may not be a picture of a gold medal. It might be something else that reminds you that God's never done with you. He's always going to use you to make a difference in somebody's life. And sometimes he uses the hard times so that we get strengthened and comforted so we can know how to comfort someone else. And that's a privilege. And then sometimes he calls us to go all the way and win a big deal. And that's a privilege too. But you know what? I don't think my gold medals have ministered to that many people. I think the times I made it through the valleys and the tough times have actually helped more people, because that's where we live most of our sporting life and regular life, is in the valleys, not in the mountaintops. And if we know how to get through the valleys with joy and with meaning and purpose and comfort others along the way, man, that's progress, that's growth, that's real living.
Josh, that's so good. As I'm sitting there looking at the baseball crew, woohoo, they're in the corner, right? Like, you fail 7 out of 10 times at the plate and you're considered a great hitter. And what you just said is really true. We lose more than we win. Mm-hmm. When you were here in 2004, I remember you showing a video to the swimmers, and maybe this is to your point here. I think it was the qualifiers for Athens, and you were swimming and you just missed making the team by like 1,000th of a second. You remember the video that I'm talking about? And you said that was the most impactful races that you ever had, and yet you lost. Mm-hmm. Tell us more about that.
So my second Olympics was my big race. I was in the individual final, finally, not a relay, an individual. And I was in third. I was first at the first turn. I was tied for second at the halfway, in a solid third at the 3/4 way. And at the finish, I got touched out and got fourth by a few hundredths of a second. And they say fourth place in the Olympics is like the worst place to be, because whether you're fourth or 100th, it doesn't matter. You're just no medal. You're a loser. But which isn't really true, but it's still really hard. It really hurts. And I remember crying like a baby for a few minutes, just because I thought of all the training, all the sacrifice, all the pain I endured to try and get my individual medal. And I just missed it by a few hundredths of a second. And some people would say, I remember a Christian saying to me, where was God? Why didn't he help you win the gold, win a medal? I'm like, well, God wasn't gone. God was right there with me, empowering me, strengthening me. And I did the best I could. In fact, I broke an American record. I broke my own American record for the 3rd time. It was the fastest I've ever gone in my life. It just happened to be 4th place at that Olympics. My time would have won the previous Olympics easily. But for whatever reason, 4th was what it needed to be. But God was right there with me all the time. And he never leaves us. He never forsakes us. He's always right there, and he's going to work everything to good.
So even when we're not getting on base those times, it's not because something's wrong with us necessarily, or the Lord is not blessing us, just meeting the realities of life.
Yeah, it's real important that we check our theology, because the sport economy is very different from God's economy. And so I really think we need to learn how to press on, that verse about forgetting what lies behind and press onward. And we got to do that in sports. We got to forget what lies behind and press on and be in the moment and give our very best every moment, and things work out.